Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you?
Good.
Good. Do you have an energy drink?
No, it's just seltzer water.
Oh, that looks good.
Yeah, that's my drink. That's my thing.
Oh, that's
Just
awesome.
different flavors of seltzer water.
Ooh.
So
I've been trying to cut out soda and I see a can and it's like, oh, that looks good. But maybe I should try that because then at least I get the fizz,
yeah.
So, all right, well, let's go ahead and get started. All right. All right, let's get started. Common words. Here we go. Ready? Work, could, dear, made, glad, like, last, shall, more, other, to, right, also, must, should, there, only, same, little, matter, give, find, sent, who, going, school, take, new, sir, let, attention, account, kindly, hope, year, first, they, about, any, which, has, some, there, or, us, good, no, just, by, up, day, much, out, her, order, yours, now, well, an, here, them, see, go, what, come, were, know, how, did, think, say, please. All right. Common phrases. Here we go. If you recollect, may recollect, must have recollected, shall recollect, she recollected, she recollects, should have recollected, should recollect, so I recollect, so I recollected, so you recollect, so you recollected, that he recollected, that he recollects, that I recollect, that I recollected, that you recollect, that you recollected, they recollect, they recollected, we recollect, we recollected, what he recollected, what he recollects, what I recollect, what I recollected, what you recollect, what you recollected, when he recollected, when he recollects, when I recollect, when I recollected, when you recollect, when you recollected, where he recollected, where I recollect, where I recollected, where you recollected, whether he recollected, whether he recollects, whether I recollect, whether I recollected, whether or not he recollected, whether or not he recollects, whether or not I recollect, whether or not I recollected, whether or not you recollect, whether or not you recollected, whether you recollect. You do final RK for recollect? No? You still working? No? Okay. I'll ask you later. No worries. All right. Let's do some statute miles and nautical miles along with lineal feet and board feet. Okay, here we go. 452 nautical miles, 380 statute miles, 3,554 board feet, 236 lineal feet, 243 statute miles, 354 nautical miles, 160 lineal feet, 7,237 board feet, 191 statute miles, 926 nautical miles, 470 lineal feet, 5,930 board feet, 467 statute miles, 725 nautical miles, 384 lineal feet, 2,636 board feet, 1,812 board feet, 620 lineal feet, 231 nautical miles, 312 statute miles, 387 nautical miles, 538 lineal feet, 975 statute miles, 1,430 board feet. All right, let's do a basic review. Briefs from theory. We've got advise, advice, together, necessary, tonight, and business. Here we go. Perhaps other small businesses would have done well to have someone advising them before they got into trouble. More advertising is not necessarily the answer. We must all pull together. Tonight we will discuss what our business office advises, and together we will decide what is the best advice. It will be necessary to be together tonight at the meeting to be able to conduct the business. It is necessary that we be advised as to what steps we can take now to prevent trouble later. It is necessary that we get together tonight to discuss a necessary advertising program. Our business has been falling off, and it is necessary to seek advice from our business advisor. All right. Now, I've got some words that have the Y and LY ending, okay, which we use the AE. Okay, here we go. Sunny, ugly, purely, gladly, navy, penny, Peggy, party, story, alley, nearly, likely, friendly, hearty, lady, shady, kitty, Billy, caddy, sorry, sadly, daddy, nutty, hardly, badly, muddy, dizzy, body, fussy, hurry. Here are your sentences. I could gladly shoot him for all the nutty things he did at the party. Her fairy godmother sadly turned her pretty dress back into rags. Ask Daddy if you can have that pretty fuzzy kitty to take home. If you go now, you are likely to get home before the road gets muddy. When it is warm and cozy, tell the story about the bright new penny. He rode the pony around and around until he got dizzy and nearly fell. It would be friendly to carry the load for me, as it is hardly heavy. The lady was trying to calm the fussy baby by rocking her. Peggy was very fussy about putting the plants in a sunny place. All right. Now I've got some consonant compounds that focus on the initial GL. Here we go. A glimpse of the glamorous girl drew glances. The miser gloated over his glittering, gleaming gold. The glacial glacier gladdened the gleaner. The glee club glanced at the gladiator. Gladiators gladly glance at gliders. The glider glided off the glowing glacier. I would gladly be glamorous. The glue and the glitter stuck to the glove. Don't glance through your glasses at the glitter. My glum turned to glee when she got her glad rags. The glare of the glaring glassware glitters. Glow, little glowworm, gleam and glisten. She gloated over her glandular globes. That gleam is glued to the gloomy. They glided glibly on the glassy ice. Glucose is glowingly described as glorious. All the glitter doesn't glow. Glaucoma glazes any glamour you might glean. The glutton's gleam was glistening. They were gloating in the gloaming. All right. Names and addresses. Here we go. Johnson Free Public Library, 275 Moore Street, Hackensack, New Jersey, 07601. St. John's Public Schools. Attention, Ruth L. Root, ROOT, Secretary, 501 West Sickles Street, St. John's, Michigan, 48879. Polly K. Winters, WINTERS, 4914 Pierce Lane, Godfrey, Illinois, 62035. Mary G. Sturdivant, STURDIVANT, Lincoln High School, 16th and Irving Street, Washington, D.C., 20010. Larry B. Schultz, SCHULTZ, Fuji Cone Incorporated, P.O. Box 349, Clinton, North Carolina, 28328. Mr. Troy W. Rank, RANK, 1502 Matthews Lane, Mamoni, Wisconsin, 54751. Trish R. Hartzell, HARTZELL, 1750 Palmer Drive, Defiance, Ohio, 43512. Sherry W. White, WHITE, Orthopedics Pharmaceutical Corporation, Route 202, Raritan, New Jersey, 08969. Mr. Leon G. Evans, EVANS, Route 3, Box 881, Livingston, Texas, 77351. All right, let's do some Tangle Tamers. All right, here we go. Decomposed bodies, kindergarten teacher, ethnic differences, celebrated retirement, dramatically affected, marketing administrator, global relief effort, longtime colleague, forest-related industries, emergency surgery, chemical pesticides, voted unanimously, literature textbook, racial diversity, confidentiality protected, economically speaking, B-17 bombers, unfenced perimeters, stylishly sophisticated, twice baked potatoes, authoritative spokeswoman, automatically canceled, brandishing firearms, conservancy created, structural foundation, magnetic forces. All right, so we're going to end on some sentence practice. All right, here we go. The earthquake caused utter chaos. My father babied my sister. The weeds are rampant in my garden. He gave us a quick, furtive glance. That quack is selling snake oil. You should answer with candor. Use parsley to garnish the platter. He used a plumb line as a guide. He was the first to use the technique. I don't care one iota about it. She has a 1-carat diamond. Ask to have the record expunged. She is marrying too young. How much money has accrued? That style is in vogue this year. Joe is devoid of a sense of humor. The house was renovated last year. He did toast your good fortune. They were married last month. The city council approved the plan. It is an affordable price range. Enjoy the picnic beside the lake. He ambled along at his own pace. Do not allude to the matter. Use another disinfectant. His father conducts the symphony. You keep digressing from the point. I won a laptop computer. We were skeptical about it. By spring, he had cabin fever. He had a mandate from the electorate. They were elated with the results. Reconstruction will take months. She is babying her son too long. He is just being hypercritical. The comment was simply not germane. He will hold the plan in abeyance. The bills proved to be counterfeit. He disregarded her inane remarks. The stenographer was not late. The agency called for the lien. It will be tried in a civil court in January. I sent the package on Saturday. Her behavior was an egregious error. I listened with a sense of dread. All right. Okay, so we're going to start some literary, and I am going to read a paragraph to you. Technical paragraph. You're going to hear womanized, process, preserve, expose, expensive, and deterioration. Okay, here we go. Ready? Womanized lumber is lumber that has gone through a process that preserves it from rapid deterioration when it is exposed to cement or to the ground. After the womanizing process, pine will last as long as redwood. When the builder wants to use wood that will stand up under such conditions, he should consider womanized lumber. In areas where redwood is more expensive because of freight costs, womanized lumber is the answer. Okay, so I'm going to read this now at 200. Here we go. Womanized lumber is lumber that has gone through a process that preserves it from rapid deterioration when it is exposed to cement or to the ground. After the womanizing process, pine will last as long as redwood. When the builder wants to use wood that will stand up under such conditions, he should consider womanized lumber. In areas where redwood is more expensive because of freight costs, womanized lumber is the answer. All right, so now the last time at 225. Womanized lumber is lumber that has gone through a process that preserves it from rapid deterioration when it is exposed to cement or to the ground. After the womanizing process, pine will last as long as redwood. When the builder wants to use wood that will stand up under such conditions, he should consider womanized lumber. In areas where redwood is more expensive because of freight costs, womanized lumber is the answer. All right. Yeah. That's okay.
What are you saying? What lumber?
Womanized. Let me spell it for you. It's like, I looked it up. It's like treated wood. And it's spelled, and they have it capitalized. W-O-L-M-A-N, Woolman, and then I-Z-E-D. W-O-L, and it's just, I looked it up because I'm like, womanized. I've never heard that term. So I looked it up, and it's like treated wood.
Okay.
Wood that's been like treated with this coating, so it stays preserved longer.
I thought you were saying womanized at first. I'm like, what's womanized?
Womanized.
Lumber?
Yeah, womanized. W-O-L-M-A-N-I-Z-E-D. Yep. Womanized lumber. I know.
Thank you.
That's why I love those little one paragraph technical answers, because you're going to get just off the wall things that you could hear, you know? So, all right. Now I've got some literary that the subject here is higher education student aid. Okay. And let me give you a word list. They even give us a word list here. This is nice. So you're going to hear accommodate, factual, accommodation, graduate, graduation, admissibility, innocence, institutions, intimated, agricultural, allocated, apology, arbitrary, jurisprudence, intolerable, assistance, liberalized, asthma, medication, orthodontic, prejudice, colleagues, austerity, conferees, prerogative, prescriptive, proposals, controversial, conscientious, commendation, credibility, reasserts, seizures, deliberate, demeanor, dispensed, subsistence, tuition, typical, dissuade, eliminate, undeniably, universities, epilepsy, version, erroneous, extravagant, and zealously. Now, that is a word list for our jury charge and the literary, because this book is really cool. It gives you a literary and a jury charge, and then you're going to hear those words in one or the other. Okay, so you may not hear it right away in the literary, but you'll hear it in the jury charge. Here we go. I'm going to start the literary at 180, and I'll work my way to 200. Okay, here we go. Mr. President, I wish to preface my remarks with a word of commendation for the members of the Senate who served on the conference committee. I was not one of those conferees and appropriately should not have been one of the conferees. However, members of the conference committee from the Senate who were not in accord with respect to an amendment I had offered fought zealously. They fought hard. They fought as hard as I possibly could have expected them to fight in order to support an amendment that had been adopted by the Senate, which I had offered, having to do with cutting back on some of the costs of the student loan program. So none of my remarks here should in any way be interpreted as any criticism of the distinguished senator from Rhode Island, the distinguished senator from Vermont, the distinguished senator from New York, the distinguished senator from New Jersey, and others who served on that conference committee, and others as well. But I do rise in support of my colleagues on the budget committee because I think that no matter how we slice it, the action of the House of Representatives in remaining adamant and in remaining determined not to accept certain of the Senate amendments that would have affected cost savings was irresponsible. Some of those people who sat on that very committee and that committee stood as a solid block are the same people who make the best speeches in the country talking about balancing the budget. One of them, in fact, is from my own state of Ohio, and he prides himself on being one of the great conservatives of America, and he prides himself about balancing the budget and cutting out excessive spending. But the fact is that with respect to the amendment that I had offered and the Senate had accepted, he was adamant and maybe stronger than some of the others on that committee. The New York Times on July 21st, 2010, summarized the situation very well in an editorial entitled "Austerity Begins with Student Aid." They state as follows: there's plenty of cheap talk now in Congress and elsewhere about cutting government spending. Taxpayers will soon find out if the House is serious or if it remains determined to subsidize loans for the college students who don't need the help. Income ceilings for these loans were abolished in 2008. Since then, government outlays have soared. Last November, before budget balancing became so popular on Capitol Hill, the House passed legislation enlarging the Student Assistance Program. but Obama's administration pleas to curb costs were finally heeded when the bill reached the Senate this summer. The measure it adopted is variously estimated to be $600 million to $5 billion cheaper over the 5 years than the House version. We urge the Senate to stick to its cost-cutting guns in conference. The extravagant House bill leaves intact the liberalized limits and unbeatable borrowing rates authorized 2 years ago by the Middle Income Student Assistance Act. These terms have drawn thousands of new students into the programs. Children from the affluent families would continue to qualify for the interest-free government guaranteed loans while in college. On graduation, they could repay them at rates considerably below market rates. Direct government loans, which are dispensed according to the need, would be available as before at 3%. The Senate has parted company with the House by raising rates on both kinds of loans. Borrowers who aren't needy would no longer get a free ride while in college. Interest charges incurred during that period would have to be paid later. The Senate also wants the government to become a much more active lender through a corporation to be called the National Direct Student Loan Association. The tougher Senate proposals would unburden the federal budget in several ways. The higher rates, coupled with interest charges while in college, would dissuade some borrowers who don't really need government loans, and they would shrink the subsidies for those who do need the help without imposing an intolerable repayment burden. The Congressional Budget Office estimates that the monthly payments of the typical borrower would rise by only $52 from $146 to $158. An enlarged direct loan program spares the government the expense of underwriting more costly market rate loans for the same students. The Senate approach is appealing also because it reasserts the principle which once governed such student assistance programs, that scarce public resources should be allocated according to the greatest need. Although the Senate opted not to reimpose income limits on the guaranteed loans, its new emphasis on direct loans that do have ceilings is a step in the right direction. College costs are undeniably straining family incomes, but so too are taxes for programs that benefit those who don't require government help. On student loans, the House could practice the austerity it so often preaches. Mr. President, my colleagues on the Budget Committee, both in the majority and the minority, have already addressed themselves to the issue that this bill presents us with. It is very difficult for anyone to stand on this floor to oppose legislation dealing with higher education. All of us, with no exceptions, support efforts to assist our home state colleges, universities, and the students as well. My own state of Ohio has an outstanding university program, both private and public, that benefits greatly from federal higher education programs. We are all familiar with students who have been assisted by the variety of grant and loan programs, and I am proud that many of them live in my own state. Our offices have all been contacted by banks and other lending institutions who greatly benefit from the loan programs authorized in this bill. Mr. President, as a supporter of higher education, I must question the cost of the programs authorized in this conference agreement. I am not opposed to higher education, and no member of the Senate that I know of is opposed to higher education. All right, let's do some jury charge. Here we go. Now this, I'm going to read it 200 all the way through. Okay, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will, of course, bear in mind that the defendant has pleaded not guilty, and by that plea, the defendant denies all the charges. This defendant and no defendant in any court in the United States is not required to prove his innocence, for, as you can readily ascertain, it is sometimes impossible for a person to prove his innocence, and that is why, under our system of jurisprudence, it is incumbent upon the state to prove the defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, as I previously explained that term to you. I also tell you that the fact that a defendant does not testify in his own behalf cannot and must not be considered against him under any circumstance or in any manner whatsoever. The failure of any defendant to take the witness stand and testify on his own behalf does not create any presumption against him. I tell you that you must not allow that to weigh in the slightest degree against the defendant. The fact that the defendant did not testify should not enter into your discussions or deliberations at all in any manner whatsoever. I told you at the beginning of this trial that you would be the sole judges of the facts in this case. It is my duty to rule on the admissibility of testimony, but the weight or the probative value of the evidence was for you to determine. It is your duty to weigh and consider the evidence so as to determine what the facts are from the testimony as you heard it from the witnesses on the witness stand. I cannot, and I hope I have not intimated to any of you how I may feel about the matter. It is not my prerogative. It is exclusively your function and responsibility. So I ask and say to you that if during the course of the trial I may have raised my voice or lowered my voice or turned my head one way or the other, it was not meant to indicate to you and should not indicate to you how I feel about the case, because it would be highly improper for me to convey my feelings as to how I may feel about the matter, because you, the jury, are the judges of the facts and not me. I am the judge of the law, and just as you are the judges of the facts and you are to determine what the true facts are, and I accept that, you must accept what I say to you is the law, because you must accept the law as I give it to you, whether you agree with it or not. Being the judges of the facts, you must necessarily pass upon the credibility or the believability of the witnesses. In that regard, I tell you again that you have the right to believe one witness and disbelieve another. You have the right to believe one witness and disbelieve several, or believe several and disbelieve one. You have the right to accept or reject the entire testimony of any witness that you hear, if that to be your view of the matter. You have the right to believe a part of what one witness says and disbelieve another part of the same witness's testimony. There should be a sound reason for your so doing. You would not want to act arbitrarily in that regard. In determining the credibility of the various witnesses, you may take into consideration their opportunities for observation, their ability to observe, the knowledge about the matters about which they have testified. You may take into consideration any prejudice or bias or friendship or things of that nature that they may have or may not have, if any. You also may consider their demeanor or conduct on the witness stand. In fact, you may consider anything which, in your good judgment, tends to show whether or not a witness is telling the truth. It is your objective to find the truth, and having thus determined what the true facts are, then it is your duty to apply those true facts to the law as I have given it to you, and thus arrive at a true verdict. Whatever verdict the jury may determine would have to be unanimous. In this case, there can only be one of two verdicts, guilty or not guilty, whatever verdict the jury may determine. Now, foreman, on the back of this indictment in black, bold print, is the word verdict, and there are several lines, and then there is the word foreman. In that space, after the jury has made a determination of what the verdict is, you would record it in that space by writing the words guilty, if that be the verdict of the jury, or not guilty, if that be the verdict of the jury, and then sign your name as foreman. One more word, each of you, I am satisfied, are accustomed within your sphere of life to accommodating others. We accommodate our spouses, we accommodate our neighbors, we accommodate our friends, we accommodate business relations. That is a way and part of our lives, and properly so. But this is the one time in life that you are called upon to serve and find what the truth is without regard to accommodating anybody. It is not your function to accommodate the state or to accommodate the defendant. It is not your function to base your verdict because you feel a certain loyalty to the state or you feel a certain sympathy toward the defendant or vice versa. Your objective in this matter is to find the truth, apply the truth to the law as I give it to you, and find your verdict, whether it be guilty or not guilty. And thus, having spoken the truth, then you owe no apology to anyone at all. Everyone in this case, the state and the defendant, is entitled to justice. They are entitled to justice and nothing more and nothing less. All right. And that was at 200 the whole time. All right, so let's go ahead and do some Q&A. Get my little box here. Okay. We're going to start off with the dog, the transcript that has the, it's related to the dog bite. Okay, so it's like defense is questioning. Here we go. Are you able to estimate or guess? Don't guess, excuse me. Can you tell me how wide the driveway was? No. Can you tell me how long it was? No. Is there a gate that goes across the driveway? No. As I told you, Daniel, anytime you need a break for a drink of water or anything, just let us know. Okay. Do you feel comfortable now? Yeah. Had you ever seen those two dogs before the day of the dog bite? Yeah. When they were in the fence. When they what? When they were in the fence. What do you mean when they were in the fence? Can you explain what you mean? When they were in the fence at their house, where they lived. Down at Mr. Stahl's house? Yeah. Had you ever seen those dogs before they bit you running around in the neighborhood? No. Ever seen them out loose? No. Did you have a dog at the time of the accident? Yes. Okay, and what kind of dog did you have? I have an Akita. Were the two dogs that attacked you Akitas just like yours? Yes. The dogs that attacked you, do you know if they were boy dogs or girl dogs? I don't know. Did the dogs who attacked you have a license on or a collar? No. Did they have dog tags on? No. What's the name of your Akita? Max. And were the two dogs that bit you bigger or smaller than Max? About the same size. Is Max a boy or a girl? A boy or a girl dog? A boy. Do you still have Max? No. Where is Max now? Dead. He was old. Okay, Max passed away. Okay, we'll stop for a minute. Let's go off the record. Let's take a break. Back on the record. David, we can stop anytime you want to, all right? So if you get upset and you want to stop, you just tell us and we'll stop, okay? We don't want you upset. Okay. Okay, now how did Max die? We had to put him to sleep. Can you speak up, please? We had to put him to sleep. When did you put him to sleep? Well, I don't know. I don't remember. Was it before or after you moved to Texas? After. Did he just get old? Yes, he was old, and my mom said he was going crazy. He kept on tearing up the house. How many dogs bit you? Just one. One? Yes. Okay, do you know which one it was? The brown one, the one with brown, light brown, and dark brown on it. So you were bit by the dog that was light brown with dark brown on it? Yeah. Are you sure about that? Yes. Did you see that dog before it bit you? No. I think he means, did you see it coming near you or coming at you or coming toward the property before? Yes. Let me rephrase the question. Okay, your counsel is right. Now that evening, did you see the dog coming towards your house? Yes. Coming towards the driveway? Yes. Was it with the other dog? No. There was just the light brown one with the dark spots, the dark brown spots? Yes. When you saw it coming, where were you? In the driveway by the fence? What were you doing when you first saw the light brown dog with the dark brown spots coming toward you? I was just leaning up against the fence. Were you playing ball or tag? No. Where was your mom when this happened? In the house. Where was your stepfather when this happened? At work. Where was Chad when this happened? He ran in the house. Did he run in the house when you saw the dog coming? Yes. No. He ran in the house when the dog started biting me. Before the dog started biting you, when you first saw the dog coming, He was just standing. He was just standing up against the fence with me. And what about Josh? Where was he when you first saw the dog coming? Standing up against the fence. Were you guys just talking? Yes. Now, when you first saw the light brown dog with the dark brown spots, how far away was it? About 5 feet. How far is 5 feet? I don't know. Okay, where was the other dog, the one that was white and brown? Do you know where it was? Yeah, it was across the street, across the dirt road, on the other side of the dirt road, barking at the dogs in that fence. Do you know whose dog those were? No. Were they the neighbor's dog or were they your dogs? What dogs? Okay, you said the white and brown one was across the dirt road barking at dogs in a fence, right? Yes. Okay, now whose fence was that? Do you know? Andrew's. Can you say that again? Andrew. He said Andrew's. Okay, is that the name of a family? No, that's the name of that lady. So it's Mrs. Andrew? Yeah. So was the white and brown dog barking at Mrs. Andrews' dogs? One of them, the white and brown one, was, and the other one was barking at our dogs. Let's just talk about the white and brown one right now, okay? So when you first saw the white and brown dog that evening, it was barking at Mrs. Andrews' dog? Yes. Can you tell me what kind of dog Mrs. Andrew had? No. And was Mrs. Andrews' dog on its side of the fence? Yes. And was the white and brown Akita on the outside of the fence? Yes. Okay, let's talk about the light brown dog with the dark brown spots. All right. Had it been barking at your dogs? Yes. So had it been barking at Max? Yes. Where was Max? In the fence. So Max was inside the fence? Yeah. Where was the light brown dog with the dark brown spots? On the outside. Did you have any other dogs at the same time you had Max? Yeah. What other dogs did you have? A Rottweiler and some puppies, baby Rottweilers. Okay, what was the Rottweiler's name? Lacey. Lacey, like lace? Like a lace? Yes, that's it. Okay, Lacey or Lace? Counsel, I think he said Lace. Yes, Lace. Okay, was Lace a boy or a girl dog? She's a girl. And how old were her puppies? About a couple of weeks old. Were they Lace's puppies? No, they were our other dog's puppies. So the light brown dog with the dark brown spots, that Akita, was barking at Max and Lace? Yes. And where was your other Rottweiler? They were in the room, one of the rooms. So you had another girl Rottweiler who was in the house? Yeah. What was the other Rottweiler's name? Her name is Honey. Honey? Yeah. Like what bees make? I don't know. Well, bees make honey, right? Yes. So was it the same name, Honey? Yes. Honey was inside the house? Yes. But Max and Lace were outside? Uh-huh. Is that correct? Yes. They were both inside your yard? Yes. Were they both barking at the Akita that was light brown with the dark brown spots? Yes. When the three dogs were barking at each other, where were they? They were by the fence, like a couple of feet down from the corner that goes on to the driveway. How far away were they from you? Are you able to tell me? No. What were you doing when the three dogs were barking at each other? I was just sitting on the fence watching them. Were you sitting on the fence or standing on the driveway? Standing on the driveway. When you saw the three dogs barking at each other, did you think anything about it? No. Were you scared when you saw the three dogs barking at each other? Sort of, because one of them was showing his teeth. What were you scared of? Well, I don't know. They were showing their teeth and were they making a lot of noise? Yes. Were they growling? Yes. Okay, were you outside the fence? Yes. How long did the three dogs bark at each other? For about 5 minutes. Okay, in that 5 minutes, did you go inside the house? No. What did you do in that 5 minutes? I just watched them. Did you and your brothers talk while you were watching the dogs bark? Yeah. For that maybe 5 minutes? Yeah. What did you talk about? About baseball practice that day. After the dogs barked, were they running back and forth while they were barking? Yes. What do you remember happening next? I don't know. So the Akita that was light brown with the dark brown spots, was it on the outside of the fence? Yes. It was barking at Lace and Honey, right? Lace and Max. Lace and Max, thank you. All right, I'm sorry. Now, what's the next thing you remember happening? The dog went on the driveway and started growling. This is the light brown and dark brown Akita? Yeah. What did you do when it came on the driveway and started to growl? I started to climb the fence. Was it a chain link fence? Yes. How high was it? I don't know, about 6 feet. Taller than you? Yeah. As tall as your stepdad? Yes. As tall as your mom? Yes. Now, some chain link fences have a pole on top. Did this chain link fence have a pole on top? Yes. So the pole went crosswise along the top? Yes. Why did you start to climb the fence? I wasn't thinking. Well, there's nothing wrong with climbing the fence, okay? Is there a reason you climbed the fence instead of running around to the side or some other reason? That's all I'm trying to find out. No. Did you want to get away from the light brown dog with the, dark brown spots? Yes. Now, when you were climbing the fence, what did you do with the baseball bat? I dropped it. Was it an aluminum bat? It was metal. When you started climbing the fence, where was Josh? He took off running to the neighbor's house. Which neighbor? The neighbor that lives like on the side of our house, the house that goes out this way, and then you just turn that way, and then the neighbor's house is right there. So do you know the neighbor's name? Yeah. What is the neighbor's name? Her name is Glenna. Glenna? What's Glenna's last name? I don't know. Is she a girl or a lady? She's a lady. Older or younger than your mom? She's older. So you saw Josh run toward Glenna's house? Yes. All right. What about Chad? What did Chad do when you started climbing the fence? He ran into the house. Is there a reason you didn't run into the house with Chad? I wasn't thinking. I was scared. Is there a reason you didn't run over to Glenna's house with Josh? No. What did the dog do when you started to climb the fence? He started running towards me. Had Josh already gone towards Glenna's house when the dog started running toward you? Yes. Had Chad already started running into your house when the light brown dog with the dark brown spots started running toward you? Yes. Now, did you think anything when the dog started running toward you? No. Now, did you use both feet and hands? Yeah. To climb up the fence? Yeah. How far did you get up to the fence? I was almost over. And what happened when you got almost over? The dog grabbed onto my leg and pulled me off the fence. This is the light brown dog with the dark brown spots? Yeah, yes. Okay, now did it grab your jeans or did it grab your skin? It grabbed my skin. And did it do that with its teeth or with its paws, or how did he grab you? He grabbed me with his teeth. Where on your leg did it bite you? Right here. Did you just put your hand on the back of your right leg? Is that where your hand is now, on the back of your right leg? Yes. His hand is near the calf area, just below your knee. I got bit right here, and it's on the back of your leg. Is that called your calf? I don't know why they call it that. And this is your knee. So is it below your knee? Yeah. All right. When you came off down the fence, did you land on the driveway? Yes. And when you landed on the driveway, was it on your feet or on your bottom? Well, how did you land? On my feet. Both feet? No, just one. Which one? I mean this one. You landed on your left foot? Yes. Okay, when you landed on your left foot, where was your right foot? In the dog's mouth. Did it hurt? Yes. Did it hurt a lot? Yes. What did it feel like? I couldn't feel anything. It was numb. And then it started bleeding. What were you thinking when you left your left foot or your left foot landed on the driveway? I don't know. Were you scared? Yes. Were you frightened? Yes. Now you've landed with your left foot on the driveway and the dog has got your right leg. What's the next thing that you remember happening? Well, a van pulled up on the street, and then the dog let go of me. Both of the dogs ran and got in the van, and then the van went somewhere. Okay, was this right after your left foot came down on the driveway? No, it was about 5 minutes after. Oh, okay, let's just back up a tad. All right, now you come down so that your left foot is on the driveway, and then the dog has your right leg, okay? Okay. Now, what's the next thing you remember happening? Trying to get him loose off of my leg, pulling my leg, but his teeth were around my leg. Okay, you were trying to get what loose? The dog's mouth. Okay, how were you trying to do that? By shaking my leg like that. You were just shaking your leg, your right leg back and forth? Yes. Were you saying anything? I was saying, let go. Were you yelling that out? Yes. When you came down to the top, excuse me, when you came down on the driveway, do you know where Chad was? He was almost in the house. Do you know where Josh was? Yeah, at the neighbor's, by the neighbor's house. Okay, did you say let go a whole bunch of times or just one time? A whole bunch of times. Were you holding onto the fence with your hands? Yeah. Were you saying anything else besides let go? No. Okay, now you're holding onto the fence and your left foot is on the driveway and you're shaking your right leg, okay? Uh-huh. And what happens next? The van pulls up and then the dogs get into it. Okay, was the dog still biting you when the van drove up? Yes. Can you describe the van for me? What did it look like? It was brown. No, it was white. Was it a white van or was it a light colored van? I think it was white. Okay, would it be a tan colored van? I think it was white. Okay, do you know who was driving the van? No. Did you ever learn later? No. Who was the driver? No. Did you hear someone in the van say anything? No. Do you know if the person in the van whistled or yelled for the dogs? No. Now, when you're holding onto the fence, you're standing on your left leg and the dog has got your right leg. And I'm talking about the light brown dog with the dark brown spots. Where was the other dog, the white one? He was still barking at the other dogs. Was he still across the dirt road? Yes. Were you able to shake the dog off of your leg? No. While you're shaking your leg, what is the dog doing? He was growling and biting on and growling. Are you saying anything to the dog? No. Did you yell for your mom or your stepdad to come help you? Yes, I was just yelling. Were you yelling anything, though, in particular? Nothing but let go. What about, were you crying or anything? Yes. Did you have tears? Yes. Do you remember someone who lived down the street by the name of Gwill? A man whose name is Gwill? Uh-huh. Do you know who Mr. Stahl is? No. He's the guy who had all of the dogs down the street from you. Did you ever see Mr. Stahl? No. What about his wife, Mrs. Stahl? Did you ever meet her? No. Did you just hold onto the fence and shake your leg there for a while? Yeah. Are you able to tell me about how long that was? No. Did the dog ever let go just for a minute? No. Did the white dog with the brown spots ever come across the street and bite you? No. Did the white dog with the brown spots stay across the street the whole time? Yes. Until the van drove up? Yes. Could you tell who was in the van, a man or a woman? I don't know. But was the light brown dog with the dark brown spots still having his teeth around your leg when the van drove up? Yes. Do you know who was in that van? No, I don't. One person or a whole bunch of people? I don't know. Now, did the dogs go into the van or did they just go away? They went into the van. Somebody opened the door and they just jumped in. Which door did they open? Was it opened up? The sliding door on the side? Yeah. All right, so let's do our read back. I started at 200 and worked my way to 225. I felt like it was a Dr. Seuss book going, the light brown dog with the dark brown spots. Was that fun to write? Oh, man.
I think I stumbled on that every time you said it. For some reason, just that phrase, the light brown dog with the dark brown spots.
I know, it did. It reminded me of like a Dr. Seuss book. Like totally kind of rhymed, you know, or it just, and at first I was stumbling, but then I kind of got used to it and then I could get it out faster. Oh man, that was funny. Okay. So the first time I'll read it at 180, then I'm going to read it at 200, and then I'll read it at 225. And let me give you a word list. You're going to hear ramp, strike, normal, available, average, estimate, let's see, cart, bags, let's see, readily, individuals, speed, ability, various, differences, unload. Okay, it's all about this cart with bags. I read it and I was like, well, it doesn't really, it's not real specific, but all right, this is going to be plaintiff. Okay, so first time at 180. Here we go. How many bags does the cart hold? They can hold any number of bags. I've seen bags in a cart with 150 bags on it. 150 bags on the cart? That's not normal. You asked me what was normal. For a normal full load of 100 bags, you would get that on one cart. I would prefer to see it on two. How much time does it take to go from one cart to the next? You should have both carts readily available, and it's a matter of putting one out of the way. Does that take no time at all? Sure, it takes time. How much time? 1 minute? 30 seconds, a minute at the most. That would increase it to 25 bags per minute for those 2 men, or cut it down to almost 2 seconds per bag. Well, from the time it takes to unload, how well is the bag treated? That depends on the individuals. Does it matter to you whether the bags are treated well or not? Certainly. Would you allow a man who doesn't have a record of breaking bags more time than you would a man who does? Would you repeat the question, please? Do you mean, are there differences between the speed and the ability of various men on the ramp? So, not real specific as to what they're talking about. So I'll read this now at 200. Here we go. How many bags does the cart hold? They can hold any number of bags. I've seen bags in a cart with 150 bags on it. 150 bags on the cart? That's not normal. You asked me what was normal. For a normal full load of 100 bags, you would get that on one cart. I would prefer to see it on two. How much time does it take to go from one cart to the next? You should have both carts readily available, and it's a matter of putting one out of the way. Does that take no time at all? Sure, it takes time. How much time? 1 minute? 30 seconds, a minute at the most. That would increase it to 25 bags per minute for those 2 men, or cut it down to almost 2 seconds per bag. Well, from the time it takes to unload, how well is the bag treated? That depends on the individuals. Does it matter to you whether the bags are treated well or not? Certainly. Would you allow a man who doesn't have a record of breaking bags more time than you would a man who does? Would you repeat the question, please? Do you mean, are there differences between the speed and the ability of various men on the ramp? All right, last time at 225. Here we go. How many bags does the cart hold? They can hold any number of bags. I've seen bags in a cart with 150 bags on it. 150 bags on the cart? That's not normal. You asked me what was normal. For a normal full load of 100 bags, you would get that on one cart. I would prefer to see it on two. How much time does it take to go from one cart to the next? You should have both carts readily available, and it's a matter of putting one out of the way. Does that take no time at all? Sure, it takes time. How much time? 1 minute? 30 seconds, a minute at the most. That would increase it to 25 bags per minute for those 2 men, or cut it down to almost 2 seconds per bag. Well, from the time it takes to unload, how well is the bag treated? That depends on the individuals. Does it matter to you whether the bags are treated well or not? Certainly. Would you allow a man who doesn't have a record of breaking bags more time than you would a man who does? Would you repeat the question, please? Do you mean, are there differences between the speed and the ability of various men on the ramp? All right, how was that?
I've done better.
Yeah.
It was okay.
That one was tricky. Just, I don't know. Maybe because of the numbers in it. 150 bags, 100 bags, 25 bags. Which take was better for you?
The first one.
The first one, okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, if you want, we can each do a Q&A.
Sure.
Okay.
Let me find my spot.
Yeah, no worries.
That's 225. Where are you? I marked it. Oh, I think this is it. Okay, I've got it.
Got it?
Do you want me to start or?
Sure.
Okay. Question, how many bags does a cart hold? Did you say a cart?
The cart?
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. I didn't have the, okay. Answer, they can hold any number of bags. I've seen bags in a cart with 150 bags on it.
Awesome. Question, 150 bags on the cart? Answer, that's not normal. You asked me what was normal.
Question, for a normal full load of 100 bags, you would get that on one cart? Answer, I would prefer to see it on two.
Awesome. Question, how much time does it take to go from one cart to the next? Answer, you should have both carts readily available, and it's a matter of putting one out of the way.
Question, does that take no time at all? Answer, sure, it takes time.
Question, how much time? 1 minute? Answer, 30 seconds. A minute at the most.
Question, that would increase it to 25 bags per minute for those two men, or cut it down to almost 2 seconds per bag. Answer, well, if the
Do you have from the?
no, I had if the, I missed the R.
Okay.
From the time it takes to unload.
Good, very good. And then he gets cut off. Question, how well is the bag treated? Answer, that depends on the individuals.
Question, does it matter to you whether the bags are treated well or not? Answer, certainly.
Question, would you allow a man who doesn't have a record of breaking bags more time than you would a man who does? Answer, would you repeat the question, please? Do you mean, are there differences between the speed and the ability of various men on the ramp? How'd you do there? That last part?
Not bad.
Good.
I mean, I got it all, but I had a few misstrokes throughout. But I mean, I got something for every word, and I can read it.
Good. Yeah, and here's the thing too, like that one where you had the answer, well, from the time you had it the time, you probably would have figured that out.
Yeah, I probably would have.
Yeah.
So
not it, well, it time, you know. So that's awesome. That, you know, that wasn't an easy one. So great job.
yay.
Yay. Pat yourself on the back. Yay. Oh, that's awesome. I'm impressed. All right. Well, do you think you can come to the class on Friday morning?
Yeah, as of right now, I'll be there. I don't foresee anything that will come up. So
Good. Yay.
I'll be there.
Yay. Okay. Well, I will see you on Friday morning.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
All right.
Have a great tomorrow. A great Thursday.
You too. All
Okay. All right.
right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.